This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant this morning. Grant is off for the day as well as so is Sam. So I'm holding down the fort best I can. So we're going to talk about all kinds of great things. It's probably a great day for being a sports fan, especially if you live in the state of New York. The Mets sweeping the Chicago Cubs. So the Back to the Future predictions did not come true. Sorry about that, Cub fans. But we'll talk about the baseball world a little bit later on in the show. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. Connor Christensen's going to be here a little bit later on. David Kenyon of Bleache Report's going to be joining us as well. So lots of great things to get to today. I have got some fun things to get to, as well as our previews for this upcoming week of action, as David Kenyon does with us on his Thursdays here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show as well. So a lot of great things to get to. Just want to take a quick moment to remind all of you that you can get us all right here from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time live on Spreaker.com and on Periscope as well. Hi to all of you watching on Periscope. We also want to take a moment to remind you we're also on Sports Radio America, the lovely people that broadcast our show nationally. So big shout out to them. They do us from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time on their awesome network, as well as on Live 365 and TuneIn. And you can also get us on demand anytime you want on Spreaker.com, on iHeartRadio, and on iTunes as well. And for those of you that love the social media world, that keep you on your toes, that's where you get your news. That's where I get a lot of my news, too, honestly. You can get us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show. We're also on Twitter at BG Sports Show. I am at Baxter Colburn. Grant is at Grant's Rant BGSS. And Sam is Samuel_Wallace, too, as well. So a lot of great things to get to, and I want to just keep the show rolling right away by welcoming in David Kenyon. So good morning, David. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't know. Oh, you probably haven't been outside today yet, but I found it awesome that the USA Today took their entire first homepage of their newspaper, of their in-print newspaper, and designed it like it was from Back to the Future, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So hats off to them in the media world for doing that. I didn't realize they could get away with something like that. But hey, I was like, why is Marty McFly on the cover of the USA Today for being arrested? But that's kind of a cool way to start your morning, I guess. Are you a Back to the Future fan at all, David?
Not hardcore or anything like that, but I did appreciate all the references yesterday. I know Michigan State Police tweeted out a picture of, we pulled over a DeLorean for going 88 and a 55, and so that was pretty cool.
That's glad to see that people are really getting behind it and just having fun with it, because why not? You gotta have a little fun with life sometimes, right? Life's too short to be serious every day.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of shortness, the bye week is kicking in for a few teams this week, so we've got a shorter amount of teams that will be playing this week in the NFL. But let's jump right into it and take a look at some of the hot games that will be taking place this week in Week 7. For some teams, it is a make-or-break week just in terms of even keeping their playoff hopes alive. For other teams, it's we're basically fighting for a first overall pick now. And for some teams, it's, hey, we're still looking to be the best team in the NFL. What games this coming weekend do fans need to keep a close eye on, David?
Well, tonight is a big one, probably an underrated big one, honestly. Seattle, they are 2-4, and San Francisco kind of figured some things out last week. I wasn't able to see the whole game, but what I watched was a little bit better. With that said, Colin Kaepernick is still first read and go, first read and toss it.
Yep.
And that's not going to fly against the Seahawks. So the thing about the game, though, the Cardinals are my goodness, I'm stumbling over words. All right, the Cardinals are 4-2.
Yes.
And the Seahawks are 2-4. And just looking at the schedules, you think Arizona's going to win that division. I mean, if they go 7-3 the rest of the way out, they're 11-5, and Seattle, if they would get the tiebreaker, would still have to go 9-1, and I don't see that happening at all.
No, I have a hard time getting behind that, honestly.
So the Seahawks are looking at a wild card spot, which is fine. I mean, it happens. But then they're really closing down on one spot, because you have Carolina and Atlanta, who are 5-0 and 5-1.
Yep.
So it seems like one of those teams is destined for the 5 seed, especially given their schedules too. And
Now, sorry. One thing I was just going to say: if Seattle happens to lose tonight to San Francisco and they go 2-5, does that kick Seattle out of any possible playoff talk, or is Seattle a good enough team that they can rebound and at least get 9 wins to get into a playoff spot if that's what it takes this year?
And see, that's the place where this is headed. If Seattle loses tonight, the NFC East is really interesting in that picture because the Phillies 3-3, New York Giants are 3-3, and the Cowboys are 2-3. If
That's
they
just a
start
hot mess.
it is. But if they start falling behind, that division, if Seattle starts falling behind, that division might just propel one of them, well, two of them really, into the playoffs. And then the Vikings are there too. They're 3-2, so they deserve a little attention.
They do.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what kind of attention, but they deserve some sort of attention.
Not sure what kind of attention. They played the Broncos tight, but I think everybody's going to play the Broncos tight.
Agreed, yes.
This next stretch will decide a lot for the Vikings. They go to the Lions, they go to the Bears, and then they host the Rams.
Okay, so that's a possibility for maybe 2 wins, because the Rams game is maybe the one for me that I'm not completely sold on, because I'm still not even really sure if St. Louis knows exactly who they are and just how good they might be this year.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll find that out, and I don't think St. Louis will find that out until like next year. I think this is just going to be a weird year for the Rams.
Yeah, I do find it interesting right now, though, David, that if the playoffs were to start today, that Minnesota and Atlanta would be the 2 wildcard teams.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I had seen that coming at all.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Just with Seattle, I don't know if they're that good. Their offense is pretty bad. It really is. The offensive line is just really bad, and that doesn't fit Marshawn Lynch's style to the point of he can carry defenders 4 yards, and he'll keep doing that. But sometimes he's carrying defenders 4 yards to gain 2. Yeah. As opposed to last year, he's carrying them 4 yards to gain 11 instead of 7.
Exactly. You got to be able to at least get to the offensive line in order to, fight forward for a few yards. But if he's fighting most of his battles as soon as he gets the ball, 2 or 3 yards deep in the backfield, that's not conducive to a solid production from the offensive side of things, and that also hinders the passing game for Russell Wilson having enough time to even drop back and throw the ball, regardless of how mobile he is as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of an underrated game tonight. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one finishes. And then, really, this is a big week for a lot of teams, basically for the same reason. You don't want to fall too far behind in the playoff race.
No.
You have Atlanta. You need to beat Tennessee. You just have to beat Tennessee because Carolina just beat Seattle. That's a huge win. And now Carolina plays Philadelphia. Now, if Carolina beats Philly, we need to start talking about this team a lot more seriously.
Yes, I agree.
Because
and I was
then they play
the
Colts and the Packers.
Yeah, and I think that after week 8, we will have after week 9, we'll have a very clear picture of what Carolina is. Because
I definitely agree.
I think Atlanta, all the way through until Atlanta actually plays Carolina, there's really no way to gauge just how quote-unquote good Atlanta is. Carolina is actually proving it, saying, look, we're going out, we're beating tough teams. Atlanta's like, oh, look, we play Tennessee, we play the Saints, we play the Buccaneers, we play the Jaguars. It's like, well, that's great, but you're not making a great case for yourself to prove if you're actually a great football team or not.
Right, and I mean, as long as Julio Jones and Matt Ryan are there, I'll have full faith in the Falcons to beat the teams they need to beat. And the other thing is we can bash the schedules all we want, and that's fine, and I will. But it's not their fault. No,
it's not. They're just Atlanta's trying to do with the best they can with what they have, because I'm sure they probably looked at their schedule, beginning of the year going, well, okay, if we were to win 13 or 14 games this year, how much weight is that going to carry for us? But as long as they're confident with the product they have, I feel like that's all that matters, because the media world, that's how we make our living, is based off of asking the questions of how good are they actually, and all the weird comparisons and all that. But I think Atlanta's got the right pieces to do it, but Tennessee is also a cheeky enough team that I could see just some weird strange of events, especially after how New Orleans went. But I get it. Drew Brees versus, I think it's Zach Mettenberger this week, right? Not Marcus Mariota?
Mariota did say he has a pretty good chance to play, I believe was the quote.
Okay. Pretty good. Okay. Well, either way, though, either quarterback that comes out for Tennessee is not comparable to what Drew Brees is doing, even in the latter stages of his career. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that Philly-Carolina game for a moment, David. As we're speaking with David Kenyon of Bleache Report, as we do every Tuesday and Thursday here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. So Philly and Carolina, Sunday Night Football. Philly's 3-3. Carolina is 5-0. Sam Bradford's got 9 touchdowns through the first 6 games of the season. Not a bad product overall, but Philadelphia's offense, I feel like we talk about this every week. Philadelphia's got so many moving parts that it's hard to really zone in on one guy saying, look at him, man. His season is just going fantastic. I think the only constant is Sam Bradford, but even then, Bradford's numbers aren't through the roof.
Yeah, I don't think Bradford has played very well. He's kind of limiting the ceiling, honestly. He's just not a perfect fit for that offense. Was he better than Nick Foles? I don't know.
That's a hard comparison, I feel like.
I'm still trying to decide that. I think Foles grasped the offense a little bit better. And people will point to that 27 touchdown, 2 interception stat line. Well, that's all well and good until you realize Foles threw 14 passes that should have been intercepted.
Yeah.
And they were dropped, or they didn't get feed in, or any combination of factors. Mm-hmm. Foles was a fine quarterback for that offense. He wasn't great, but I think he was better than Bradford. The biggest thing, though, over the last 2 weeks, they're blocking. They're just blocking. All your offensive success starts on the offensive line. Seattle, they had a lot of changes. Not good. Philly had a lot of changes. Surviving. Still not good. Atlanta, they shifted their offensive line from a power run to a zone run to make up for their problems. It worked. And Philly,
I completely agree.
Philly's doing the same. With that zone run, they're just getting better with the zone run, and that's important.
It is. It absolutely is important. And just staying on the offensive line for just a second, last year it was almost no question that Dallas had the best offensive line in the NFL. Based off of what you've seen through the first 6 weeks of the NFL season, does Dallas still have the best offensive line, or has a new team emerged as the best offensive line so far?
Well, this season alone, Dallas does not have the best offensive line. I think right now I give my attention to the Cincinnati Bengals. They've done remarkably well. The Patriots, just because I think Tom Brady's manipulated the pocket better than ever. Yep. They do have a problem, at least a remote problem going forward, because last week, I believe it was, they will be without left tackle Nate Solder for the season.
Yep, which is a big blow for them.
Yep, that's a big hit. But I mean, I think we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals right now.
Okay.
The Packers have done okay, but not up to the level that I expected of them. But getting everyone healthy will be big there. So I would say, as it stands right now, the Bengals and the Packers have been up there. The problem with the Cowboys right now, Tony Romo's out. Tony Romo makes every offensive line better than it is.
Interesting. Okay. Why do you say that?
Because he's mobile, he escapes pressure, he can jump out of the pocket. Brandon Weeden didn't do that. He would go one read, second read maybe to check down if he had time. Otherwise, it was first read, check down. But Romo will go first read, second read, third read, escape pressure, first read, check down.
Yeah, that's not very conducive to big time production, especially for a Cowboys team that thought they might have a shot at a Super Bowl this year, which if they can do enough to play damage control until Romo comes back and Des Bryant comes back, they might still maybe make the playoffs, and then that's a whole nother game. One other game I want your opinion on, David, before we have to run to a break is, at least in my opinion, the game that I'll be keeping a very close eye on this weekend is the Patriots-Jets game on Sunday. 4-1 New York against 5-0 New England. If there were ever a time for the Patriots to lose a game, is this the time? And are the Jets capable enough to make that happen?
Are the Jets capable? Yes. Is New England going to get beat at home this year? I don't think so. So I love this game. I will be watching most of this game as I roll through my Sunday ticket. I want to make sure I'm watching this one a lot because I want to have a measuring stick on the Jets. I think they're great.
I do too. I'm one of the few that I've found, at least around my circles of people that I've talked that have been like, I actually like the Jets, and folks are like, why? But I'm like, they're 4-1. Their defense is playing fairly well. Surprisingly, Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing a great job. Brandon Marshall seems to have re-energized his career, and Chris Ivory's doing a pretty good job tilting the rock as well.
Yeah, and Eric Decker is one of the best fits as a number 2 receiver. He was okay as the top target, but he excelled in Denver behind Demaryius Thomas. Brandon Marshall is obviously a number 1 target still.
Yeah.
And together they've been outstanding. And after this, the Jets get the Raiders, the Jaguars, and then another test with the Bills. And then the Texans, the Dolphins should play them tight. The Giants, the Titans. I mean, this is a team that should win 10 games and should make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to see how they stack up against that playoff team.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one. I'm interested to see where exactly the Jets decide to go. I think they've got a good product this year, and I think New England obviously overall is a very good product, and it all stems from their quarterback, Tom Brady, as well, who we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth in our next segment. So, David, hang out for a little bit. Everybody that's listening, hang out as well. We're going to run to a quick break. We will be right back. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think that defense is top 3, and I don't know. Well, Sheldon Richardson was suspended, I believe. No, Sheldon.
Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. Well, we had the opportunity to be joined by Bleacher Report's David Kenyon in our first segment, and he has decided to hang around with us for the second segment as well. So, David, twice in one day, I feel like this is Christmas already, and it's not even December.
Well, I am the best present you could have.
I don't even have a response for that, so thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to leave it at that and transition over to another present that I'm sure the Patriots are happy to have this year, which is Tom Brady, and they've had him all season instead of only for 3/4 of their season. Tom Brady, I feel like, is always in the news for something, whether it's the woman he's married to or Deflategate or just his great comments that he decides to drop during press conferences or interviews. And recently it was reported that Tom Brady came out and said that he thinks that he could play in the NFL for another 10 years. He was quoted as saying, I'd like to play a long time. Yeah, a long time. There's a lot that goes into playing well. I've played with a lot of great teammates, but I want to play for a long time. Maybe 10 more years. I think that's probably what my goal is. That's a whole 2025 with Tom Brady. Brady's 38 right now. Could you think he could actually play at a high level or an effective level until he's 48?
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so either. Is this just Tom Brady just doing Tom Brady things, or is?
Yeah, he's just talking. I mean, if he plays 5 more years, that'd be great. And
okay.
I think he's got 4 years in him for sure. Does he do that? I don't know. And the thing about something like this, I love the news cycle. This is something he said before.
Yeah. Well, he said it was just 8 years last time that I saw, right? Or last time that I read an
Yeah,
article.
exactly. I mean, so he goes from 8 to 10. Like, okay, so he goes from 46 to 48. Who expects him to play till he's 46 anyway?
Exactly. I mean, inflation, basically. He's just, tacking on a few years. But no, I don't see Brady playing, honestly, another 5 years, as you mentioned, too. I think that if he were to win the Super Bowl this year with the Patriots and maybe come back, depending on how many guys they retain, maybe win it again next year or make a deep run, I would say maybe play 3 years. Maybe play 3 or 4 years and call it. But only he knows his body better than anybody, and maybe he's got the case of the Brett Favres and just doesn't know when to say it is enough. But Tom Brady's playing still at an elite level at 38, and it'd be hard for him to walk away when he knows he's still one of the best in the game.
Yeah, and the biggest thing right now with Brady is he's doing things just as well as he has or better than the last 5 seasons.
Yes,
especially with his movement in the pocket. It's allowed him to prolong plays, and he looks good at it, and that's great. And I do think he has 1 or 2 more elite seasons in him. I was wrong last year. I thought the championship window had closed on him, but he definitely improved. And so I know better than to doubt Brady at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I mean, look at his stats through the first 5 games of the year. 5 games. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's basically thrown for 1,700 yards. He's 1 yard away, but he's posting a 118.4 quarterback rating. The man is. I forget that he's 38. If you were to say, here are the stats from a random player, and here's his age, I would be like, well, that's not possible. Unless you knew that it was Tom Brady. And I feel like, too, that this is the type of production we're going to probably see out of Aaron Rodgers in the latter half of his career when Aaron Rodgers is 38 and, oh gosh, what is that, 8 more years, I think? This is probably similar to what Rodgers will be doing as long as he stays healthy. And I know that's the cliche, well, if he's healthy, he'll do well. Well, yes.
It's true.
It's true. I mean, if I have a broken leg and I'm not gonna run fast, I'm not gonna do as well from a recovering standpoint. So if Brady stays healthy, I could see Brady playing at a high level for at least 3 years. I don't think after about another 3 years he'll be considered elite anymore, but I could see him being elite for maybe 2 or 3 more years, depending on what he does to keep himself in shape.
Yeah, and I'd be comfortable with that too. At least at this rate, we'll always compare him to Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
and longevity and everything like that. Well, the biggest difference is Brady still has the arm strength that Peyton never had anyway. And
True.
That will be the biggest thing that is not discussed.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
And that's those guys are just the comparisons that they will be compared all the way until their grave. I feel like it's just because they needed something. And I've enjoyed the Brady Manning bouts over the years. And I think that because Brady has always had the better arm strength, has been just more agile as a whole, I think is why he's seeing so much more success. And obviously that injury that Manning sustained, nobody could prepare for that. That neck injury was terrible, and the fact that he recovered the way he did was great, but Manning just hasn't looked the same aside from his one crazy, ridiculous blowout year that he had 2 years ago. And it's just Manning is definitely going to be hanging up his cleats. I'd say I'd be shocked if he goes 2 more years, honestly.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't retire after this season, honestly.
Exactly. And coming into this season, I was like, well, if the Broncos find a way to win the Super Bowl, if I'm Manning, I'd be done. Just go right now. Might as well.
Oh, I have no idea how he would stay, especially if they won a Super Bowl. But, I mean, that's the thing. Peyton, he made his living on his career with pre-snap reads, manipulating defenses, and doing it at a level almost unknown to the sport.
Now, I have a question for... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, actually, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead. And Brady, he's done that too, maybe a little bit lesser than Peyton, because Peyton knew that's how I'm going to destroy people. Brady did it with that and a little bit more arm strength. And Brady still has that. So as long as he's throwing quickly, he's going to know what's happening at the line of scrimmage. And I'm not worried about that. So as long as Brady can still throw the ball, he'll play. And that, I mean, if he's still throwing it this hard right now, he's still got 3-4 good years for sure in that arm.
Yes, no, I agree with you on that one. Now, I want to just ask this question, and maybe I'm just crazy for thinking about it. Would you say that Aaron Rodgers is basically the child of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning's playing styles because of the different things that he brings to the game in terms of arm strength, mobility, and the ability that he can check down at the line and make reads, or is that a little too far to go for a comparison? Because I see different similarities, but is it enough to say, yes, he is basically the brainchild of these two gentlemen that are playing now?
I am the antithesis of sport radio, apparently, because I hate comparing greats to greats. Like, Rodgers is elite. Brady is elite. Yep. Manning was elite.
Yes.
And Rodgers does things like they did, but that doesn't make them at all comparable. Aaron Rodgers is probably playing quarterback at the highest level of any quarterback in the history of the NFL. Between his accuracy, his mobility, his strength, his ability to diagnose the line of scrimmage, his ability to diagnose coverages before, recognize changes after, adapt, throwing style, because it's so versatile. He can go to the sidearm, he can go over the top, he can launch it, he can go off 2 feet, he can go off no feet, he can go off 1 foot.
The Brett Favre shovel pass.
Well, I mean, I don't really count that as
that's a skill. That's a huge skill to be able to execute this shot.
Sure, awareness. But I'm not going to say throwing it left-handed to a running back 2 feet away is a skill.
Hey, when you're being pressured by defensive linemen in the NFL and you've got 80,000 people screaming at you at once, that little left-handed shovel pass is sometimes a godsend.
Well, yeah, it's important, and I'm not discounting the importance of it, but it's not a skill other than awareness.
I suppose. But, there you are. Take the ball. Go.
So Rodgers himself is playing at the highest level ever. And then you're going to say, well, Brady has 4 championships. Rodgers only has 1. Yeah. Brady is a really good quarterback, too.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the extra skill set that Rodgers does. Does it matter? No.
Not at all.
Brady's awesome.
Exactly. And you can also make an argument, too, that Rodgers' supporting cast has not been the greatest, and some of the defenses that Brady has had at his disposal have been just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but again, it's like comparing schedules. And
it is.
I'm sorry for not embracing debate, but, I mean, who cares? That's the hand they were dealt.
Exactly. And they made the most of the time and the hands that they were dealt, and that's all that matters. And that's why Tom Brady has 4 rings and Rodgers only has 1, unfortunately. So what is an accurate – I know we've kind of thrown out a few different numbers. So what's an accurate number for how long you think Tom Brady's got left in the NFL, realistically?
I think Brady, realistically, at most, plays 4 seasons.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, the article that I'm reading here on USA Today says they think he would go till 45, but 48 they said is too much. So I would have to go with you with about probably 4 to 5 seasons, honestly, just because of it all depends. And it's cliche, but it depends on how healthy he stays. Because if he's healthy and he's still got a good offensive line that's keeping him off his butt during the games, I'm going to take Tom Brady any day, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And even as he regresses, and this is an important point, he will be better than about half the league at his worst. You think he could become like Jay Cutler and especially the Wisconsin audience. They're like, oh, well, that'd be great. Cutler. Cutler is a top 16 quarterback.
Yeah.
And Bears fans who want to get rid of Cutler, well, hey, go ahead and have Jimmy Clausen go 10 for 10 on your drives.
Woo!
Remember that 10 for 10 was all punts. Jay Cutler is an NFL quarterback.
Yes, he is.
Is he elite? No. But he is a lot better than the rest.
Absolutely. All right. Well, David, always a pleasure, sir. We look forward to speaking with you again next week for your fantasy football advice. Have fun with all the crazy games this weekend, and good luck to your fantasy team as well, sir.
All right. Thank you. I'm coming for you guys.
All right. We're looking forward to it. Bring it. We will see you next time, bud. And we are going to jump to a quick break, and we will be back with more here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant or Sam today, just holding it down by myself, and producer Danny Hoffenstein is here. And as always, he does a lovely job, so he's doing a good job. He's looking a little cozy today. You got your knitted hat on, Danny. You got your shorts on, your jacket. You just look like you should be like running around like in the snow or something outside, even though it's not snowing out.
Actually, I just kind of woke up not too long, shortly before the show.
I've been up since 5:30, man.
Yeah, well, some of us like
embrace
to sleep.
your day.
No, some of us like to sleep more.
I do too. I do too. But I
also some of us stayed up till like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. I had a broadcast last night, so I didn't get home till like 11:30.
I saw you.
Yeah, I know. I was like, Danny. That was fun. Anyway, all right. Well, let's take a moment and review the action that took place in the MLB playoffs last night. The New York Mets sweeping the Chicago Cubs, but I want to start with the Kansas City Royals and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays keeping themselves alive in the series as they now force a Game 6. Kansas City carries a 3-2 series lead now going into Game 6. Toronto with a 7-1 victory last night. They put 4 runs up in the 6th inning and then added 2 more runs in the 7th and 8th respectively after jumping out to a 1-0 lead in the second. Some of the top performances last night for the Blue Jays. Let's take a look around here. So they had some good. They had multiple players with hits. Multiple players with different hits last night. If I can speak English, the winning pitcher was Estrada for Toronto last night. He allowed 3 hits and 1 run. He went 7 2/3 innings as well. He did give up 1 home run as well, but he did pitch 5 strikeouts and only 1 walk. Velasquez was the losing pitcher for Kansas City. He went 5 innings, allowed 3 hits and 5 runs. He walked 4, struck out 2, and gave up a home run as well. So it was not his greatest night. Neither pitcher really dazzled last night, but Estrada certainly being able to go 7 2/3 innings certainly helped, and only giving up 1 run is something that certainly will help power Toronto through. It's hard to say whether or not Toronto is going to be able to come back, but in the baseball world, anything at all is possible, and that's the great part about it, is that it's literally one game at a time. And you hear people argue all the time, well, baseball is such a boring game, and it's not like football or basketball, it's not a manly sport. The one thing that you can say about baseball is that it actually is a man's sport, and it's weird for me saying this because I'm not a huge baseball fan, but at the end of the day in baseball, you have to man up, put the ball in your glove, and you have to throw it across the plate every single time. It's not like you can run out the clock. It's not like you can take a penalty to delay the game. It's none of that. You literally have to take the control of the ball in your hand and throw it across the plate every single time and prove that you are the better pitcher, the better outfielder, or the better hitter, or the better runner, because anything can happen in baseball at any given time. And I think that's something that folks forget a lot about sometimes. It's like, wow, this baseball is boring, it's slow. It might be slow at times, but when it is in the peak of excitement and the playoffs is when the fan bases continue to just go insane, and you see all of these crazy games where Chicago Cubs were able to not sneak into the playoffs, but get into the playoffs and win their first series, and all these teams that normally aren't in the playoffs are making the playoffs because those guys stepped up to the plate when they needed to, and they were able to throw the ball across the plate, survive the outcome of it, and then continue to fight on. And that's really what it comes down to. And you have to take a moment and just admire what baseball players go through on a weekly, seasonal basis, because it's a lot of games. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. It's a lot of manning up, basically, as I keep kind of saying, and sticking it out and proving that you are the best team. And it's hard to stay consistent in baseball. And I know baseball is a game of streaks, and when your team goes on in any other sport, basically aside from basketball, where the season is about just as long, if you lose 10 to 15 games in a row, your season's pretty much done. But in baseball, you can go on a 10 or 15 game losing streak. Sure, you might drop in the division, but you're like, oh wait, we still have like 85 games still to play, so we can get our act back together and continue fighting through. And that's why we had so many great performances in the baseball world this year. The other game that took place yesterday was the New York Mets completing the 4-game sweep against the Chicago Cubs. The Mets win 8-3. And it was at Wrigley Field, and you had a thought for a moment that, oh, maybe the Cubs can come back. They can, continue to prove the Back to the Future prediction was right, and all this other superstitious conspiracy weird crap. No, it's not. It's not how it works. Last I checked, movies don't predict the future. It's not how it works. Sorry. Does anybody ever think about the redundancy factor of Back to the Future? Anybody? Exactly. I know that's the point. Thank you. Just saying, it's one of those things where it's like you read it, it's like, oh, Back to the Future, and it's like, wait, Back to the Future? What? Like, just come on. If they can't even get the movie title right, I mean, they don't even know the directions. How are they supposed to predict baseball, for gosh sakes? Anyway, that's why the Cubs lost. Blame the movie. It's the Cubs' fault. Now you have to commend the Cubs, though. They had a good season overall, honestly. I mean, they posted over 95 wins. They looked really good. But the Mets just were able to come through last night and really come through with a strong victory to claim that 4-game sweep. So now they go to the World Series. More than likely, they'll take on the Kansas City Royals. However, if the Blue Jays have anything to say about it, they're hoping to play spoilers and get there. A Toronto Mets series would be interesting, honestly. I would actually tune in for that, to see two teams that are traditionally not elite, traditionally not high-flying, crazy good teams, and I'd be curious to see where that would go. So let us know your thoughts. You can tweet at us at BG Sports Show, at Baxter Colburn, at Grants Ranch BGSS, and at Samuel_Wallace2 as well. Connor Christensen is going to be joining the show a little bit later on, so we're going to make sure to get to him and talk about his fight corner aspect and also see what's going on with the Minnesota Vikings as well. So we are going to step aside for a little bit. We'll be right back. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax, no Grant or Sam today. Sam will be back tomorrow, as he does every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. A lot of great things to get to tomorrow. Simon Mitchell will be joining us as well, all the way from England, to recap the Champions League action. And he's also going to be talking a little bit about Formula One as well. So he was like, hey, I've got some info about the upcoming races. Do you mind if I talk about it? I'm like, well, sure. Why not? Why, I suppose. I'm not going to say no. So we're glad to have him back. So we'll be excited to get him back on the show this Friday. So make sure to catch that from 7 to 8 a.m. Central on Spreaker.com. And from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time as well on Sports Radio America. So it is Thursday, so Connor Christensen is here. Good morning, Connor. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you back. Some Fight Corner business for us this morning, sir. So what do you got in store for us today?
All right. Well, I've got a couple things to talk about today. UFC Fight Night 76 is supposed to take place on the 24th.
Okay.
And the main fight is actually canceled due to one of the fighters getting a concussion. So they have gone to it was kind of a co-main event type of thing, and so the new fight, the new main event is Paddy Holohan versus Louis Smolka, and
is that Paddy with a D or a T?
With a D. He fights out of Dublin, which is where it's taking place. They're fighting in Dublin.
Hometown favorite.
Yes. And, well, actually, Paddy's from Ireland. He fights out of Wales. But
Aye,
that's
Paddy.
That's a different.
You're going to a fight.
Aye.
Make your mama proud.
Yes. And I'm also going to talk about Conor McGregor in a little bit.
Oh, Conor McGregor and Paddy. Let's just have a good old throwdown in the square.
Anyway, so Paddy Holohan versus Louis Smolka, they're both very, very tall flyweights, and a flyweight is a 125-pound fighter. They are both 5'9" and weighing 125 pounds. First of all, I don't know how you do that, because I am 5'8", and I can't imagine weighing less than 150 pounds. I mean, it's that to fight at that weight is just.
Wait, how much you said
they're 125 pounds,
and they're 5'9"?
And they're 5'9". They're 1 inch taller than me, and I have almost 40 pounds on them.
Good Lord, you're fat.
I've never felt so fat in my life. So first of all, just kudos to them for being able to do that. I wouldn't ever be able to do that.
No.
And the fight should be a fairly decent fight to watch. From everything that I've read and everything I've seen of the two of them, Holohan is vicious on the ground. You don't want to get taken down by Holohan. He'll destroy you. And Louis Smolka is very, very good in the clinch. It's the clinch is where it's technically a Muay Thai type of thing. So you have both of your hands around the back of the neck, and you hold them in very, very close to you. And then you throw knees up at them, or you can punch them.
Okay.
And you're basically able to throw them around really, really
Shake them
easily.
like a ragdoll.
Yeah, pretty much. It's very disorienting to have someone grabbing you by the back of the neck and throwing you around.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But a lot of times a clinch is followed with a takedown in the UFC, or a vicious knockout or something like that. So if Holohan can use the clinch to his advantage, get out of the clinch and into a takedown, it could go either way. So it'll be a good fight. I think, based off of what I have been, my own experience, I think Paddy Holohan will take it. He's fighting in Dublin, and so I think the home field
crowd
advantage, as they say.
Can you have home field advantage in a fight?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, well, it's all based on the fans. So, if the fans are loving you because you're from Ireland,
sure.
It's. His fandom, if you will,
in
Ireland would be higher or greater than if it was in, Toronto, Canada or something,
Well, the Irish are everywhere, but
yeah, that's very true.
Everyone's Irish at least one day of the year.
Exactly. St. Paddy's. Woo! Okay, anyway. So I was going to talk about Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor found out that the main event of UFC Fight Night 76 was canceled due to one of the people getting a concussion. Ooh. So he volunteered to step in.
Who willingly volunteers? Be like, I'll do it.
Conor McGregor willingly volunteers.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, it's so McGregor probably will not get the fight, seeing as how it's during this weekend, and
So
I don't
fly him in.
It's probably not going to happen. But
Put him in, coach.
I just wanted to bring it up because that's really, really cool.
That is.
Conor McGregor is just like, oh, hey, I'll fight him. It's
I ain't scared.
No, he is, and not to mention he has his own title shot in December.
This would be a good little warm up for him.
That's 2 months from now. If he got hurt, in a, I mean, he's Conor McGregor, so
if you
will
blows to the head, tell him to man up and call it a day.
So yeah, I mean, it's just really cool. First of all, that he would willingly step in to fight this dude with no preparation for him, because fighters do train in a specific way for specific fighters.
You have to, every guy, different film. It's like preparing for a game in the NFL. You have to watch the film on your appropriate opponent and be like, okay, well, how do they do things differently? Where are we going? How do we attack them? Where are their weaknesses, etc.
Yeah, you go in with a game plan and you stick to the game plan generally, unless you're, George St. Pierre or Anderson Silva, and then you just go in and they say, just go do what you do, and then they go and do what they do and win fights. Anyway, so Conor McGregor probably won't get the fight. It would be really cool to see him step in just to
get his gotta.
From what if I wasn't misreading it, he's actually 10 pounds lighter than the person that he volunteered to fight. So
he probably still win.
That's another thing that just makes Conor McGregor awesome, is the fact that he's he's undersized. And
I can gain 10 pounds in a week.
No, he'd probably stay.
Never mind.
But yeah, so that would be pretty interesting.
No, he's not here by himself.
Donkey. Oh man. Oh,
sorry.
Good times.
Anyway.
And then if you remember a long time ago, like months ago,
eons, decades,
Mr. Coppersmith asked me once if I thought the rumors about Ronda Rousey's plans for retirement were true.
Straight Bolshevik.
Yeah, and I am, back then I said no, that I didn't. And then coming today, I saw an article that makes my no become a resounding no. She is not done.
No.
She is not done in the UFC because she still has another goal to reach.
Oh?
She came out and said that she wants to achieve Muhammad Ali's status.
Oh.
She wants to go up, and she wants to win so much and so dominantly that they stop putting female in front of her championship.
Like, she will kill them.
Yeah,
literally.
And so she is not done by any sense.
Okay,
because she still wants to dominate so much that people recognize her as one of the greatest fighters to ever fight.
She is.
I mean, yes, she definitely is. But it kind of becomes a thing because right now she is still classified as the female champion. She is classified as the whatever, yada yada, and she wants to break any doubt that she is just a phenomenal fighter. And I think that she will go and she will continue to win for a couple of years here, and until she's got her undefeated record. I don't see anyone beating her. I was
gonna say, is she ever gonna lose?
I don't think so. I think as soon as people start getting over a minute in the octagon with her, that will be news. Be like, this person lasted a minute against Ronda Rousey, and everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Ronda Rousey's losing her edge or something, But so yeah, Ronda Rousey's not done by any means. And I also read an article this morning about Mr. Brock Lesnar, if you've heard of him.
Yes,
he was the heavyweight champion for a little bit. And then his contract ran out, and he went back to the WWE wrestling world, or the fake wrestling. And Danny's over there shaking his head at that. Well, WWE pays better. Let's just leave it at that. And Lesnar actually came out and said that he would be interested in coming back to the UFC.
Oh,
I personally don't want that. Because I think he's old.
Terrible idea.
He's
Terrible
old.
idea.
He's washed up. He wasn't winning fights anymore. He's losing it. I think he's much better suited for the WWE at this particular moment. Although he could throw me probably about 20 feet, I am going to say this. Brock Lesnar, do not come back to the UFC. Stay in the WWE. You're more entertaining in the WWE. Yeah, when he finally beat the Undertaker streak. We don't have to talk about WWE. Yes, John Cena. You can't see me. Yeah, anyway. Yes, so that is my fight corner. That is all relevant information that I would like to talk about this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, we are going to jump to a break, and when we come back, Connor, we also are going to keep you here for a moment and take a look not only at the Minnesota Vikings, but just the NFC North as a whole and just kind of the hot mess 3 out of the 4 teams have been in so far this year. So we'll be...
Wait, what do you mean 3 out of the 4?
Let's be honest.
3 out of the 4?
Let's be honest.
3?
We'll be right back. This is
2
the
out
Bax
of
and
the
Grant
4.
Sports Show. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America, or as we like to call it, the Hard Rock Hour of Awesomeness. Woo! That song is always just like, gets me going. I'm just like, I'm going to go throw things and lift things and put them down, and then...
That's what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
Like, woo! I just picked up my Starbucks coffee, took a drink, and put it down. That is my workout today. I am done. Woo! I am famished.
Yeah, and I just picked you up and put you down.
Yeah, well, you're the strong one. Son of a gun. Periscope is against us this morning. I swear.
There you go, man.
The struggle is real. Anyway, I was going to say something, but I decided
Probably
against
a good
it. You know what? For those of you
Probably
that
a
keep
good
commenting on Periscope, I don't need your sass right now. It's because our Periscope doesn't want to keep working. Periscope down. Periscope up. I don't know. Anyway, Connor, well, we have you here before our last segment.
Yes.
I just gave myself hearts. I didn't know you could do that.
Wait, what?
Oh, no. Oh, that wasn't me. That was somebody else.
See, now look what you've done. What have you done?
There we go.
Oh,
We're
okay.
back.
All
Nobody
right.
moved. Nobody touched anything.
Hey, now we got hearts again.
Yay, hearts again. Thank you
I'm
for the
assuming
hearts.
we, because we're both on the screen here.
Hello.
Hello.
That's fine. You're basically. Yeah. Anyway, Connor Christensen's here. He had his fight corner like he does every Thursday, but now we're going to take a quick look at the NFC North and decipher what
a mess.
Yeah, it really is. It's a hot mess. I mean,
But did I not call that the Lions were going to beat the Bears?
that's stupid.
Oh, yes.
So stupid.
And his name is John Cena. No, I'm just
His
kidding.
name is Matthew Stafford.
His name is Matthew Stafford. Oh, my goodness. First of all, I was happy that the Lions won. I wanted them to beat
I
the
did not.
Bears.
I wanted the
them
Bears to win. Which,
Nah.
You'll never really ever hear me say again, but I was like, I hate the Lions more than I hate the Bears personally.
I don't like you're a Packers fan, and you wanted the Bears to win a game? What's wrong with you?
Well, I didn't.
Aren't you supposed to
I can't-
find
this isn't
every
soccer. I
Bears
can't-
anything and just burn it?
This isn't soccer. I can't call for a draw.
That's true.
Like when you're making predictions in soccer for teams you don't like, you just say, I just hope they draw. That way neither team gets anything. I mean, they get a point, but trivial. Anyway, so Detroit is 1-5, Chicago's 2-4, Minnesota's 3-2, and Green Bay is 6-0.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Green Bay's 6-0, but I'm not really sold on any of the NFC North teams personally.
I mean, the Green Bay that I saw playing against the Chargers was not a Super Bowl team because they played terribly.
Well, let's be honest, it looked like the 2010 Super Bowl team because that defense was awful.
Yeah, true. They have to. Oh my goodness, where to begin? They have to be able to pressure the quarterback better. They have to be able to stuff the run. They have to be able to cover the secondary. My goodness, there were so many
things to do to win a game.
Interceptions. What was it, like 3 of those dropped interceptions?
Yeah. I went on a rant on Monday, basically ripping Sam Shields in half, and then putting him back together and then ripping him again because I can't even with Sam Shields. If I had to be a basic white girl for a second, I could. My level of couldn't even is so done when it comes to Sam Shields, just because I can't deal with just how awful he is. Honestly. Yeah. It's not good, and I don't understand how he was a Pro Bowl cornerback. How was he a Pro Bowl cornerback? Was it just a bad year for cornerbacks in the NFL that they were like, all right, Sam, fine, come on, it's okay.
Well, he was on a team that went to the championship. So I think it's kind of.
They didn't go to the championship because of their defense. They went because of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yes, we all realize that, but the Pro Bowl is not actually based on skill. It's based on politics, football politics.
To hell with the politics. Down with the man.
Harrison Smith should have been in the Pro Bowl because he was better than Earl Thomas, but he wasn't there. So
if Harrison was in the Legion of Boom, then maybe.
Well, he'll outplay the Legion of Boom.
This year, pretty much every team is outplaying the Legion of Boom.
That's true. Well, when only 2/3 of the Legion of Boom show up every.
I think 2/3. I think 2/3 is generous.
True.
That's very generous.
Exactly.
So let's look at Minnesota. They play Detroit this weekend.
I like our chances
at Detroit. Minnesota has a chance to go to 4-2 in the division. I like what that team, that is, the Vikings. I wanted to say the Giants. The Giants is the wrong word, Baxter. Step away from the microphone. I like what the Vikings have in terms of an overall product against the Lions. I don't necessarily like what the Vikings have as a whole product, but I like what they have right now against their current opponent.
There is a specific game plan that they have to go with because Teddy is lacking confidence. He's not proved himself still. He's making mistakes that he should not be making, throwing picks that should not be made. Honestly, you have a core group of very athletic players, very fast, good hands, athletic players. What Teddy needs to do is that he needs to throw the short ball and have his wide receivers take it down the field. That was how Phillip Rivers destroyed the Packers secondary. And that's how Teddy has to.
It's not rocket science.
And that's how Teddy has to do it because he is not confident enough to throw the bombs down the field. Even those shorter, longer distances where it's like, a 20-yard throw, a 25. So, I mean, it's not quite a
mid-range throws.
Yeah, thank you. Mid-range throws. He is not always executing them the best when as soon as it becomes more than a 15-yard throw, he's not as accurate as he needs to be. And
I'd agree.
Looking at him during, training camps and practice and everything, he's able to make the throws. It's just that in the game situation, he's lacking the confidence to make those throws. So you need to start off short and then move long. And I mean, let's be honest here, the Lions secondary.
Let's be honest, every secondary in the NFC North is pretty bad.
Vikings are okay.
No, they're not.
They need some work. Harrison Smith is good.
Good Lord. The biggest advocate for Harrison Smith I've ever met.
Harry the Hitman he's coming for you, man.
Is that a thing?
That is a thing, actually.
Harry the Hitman?
Harry the Hitman. Harry the Hitman Smith.
Sounds like somebody I'd be related to back in Italy or somebody. Hey, this is Harry the Hitman. I don't know.
Is that how they talk back in Italy?
Yes, my Italian accent failed. Anyway, kind of like the Vikings season.
No, boy.
Kidding.
Shots fired.
Woo! No, I find it interesting, though. One non-football related thing. It's still related to the Vikings, though, is that the Vikings punter, is it Jeff Locke or Locke?
Locke.
Okay, Jeff Locke is working over the next 2 months to convert Blair Walsh to the Force. Because Blair Walsh has apparently never seen Star Wars anything.
Really?
So Jeff Locke is making it his personal goal to make sure Blair Walsh is completely caught up on everything Star Wars before they go to see the Star Wars The Force Awakens movie.
Nice.
So, and the little snippet here says, "Search your feelings, Blair Walsh. You know it to be true."
That is awesome.
Yes.
I just bought my Star Wars ticket the other night.
Did you really?
I did. My roommate and I bought our Star Wars tickets. We're seeing it on December 19th at 1:30 a.m.
Is that open night?
No, opening night is the 18th. So, but they were all sold out.
1:30 a.m.
That was the only time that was available, so we're going.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, in terms of the NFC though, as a whole, Green Bay, or the NFC North as a whole, Green Bay sits atop 6-0. Minnesota, I think they will still finish second in the division as a whole. Chicago and Detroit are going to kind of just duke it out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can agree that Chicago and the Lions, they're both kind of done at this point.
Yep.
I don't see them doing anything relevant the rest of the season. I think because divisional games are always tough, I think they might kind of come out and give a team a run for their money.
Yeah.
But I do believe that Green Bay will win the division and the Vikings will be second. However, what their record is, I'm not even going to make a prediction as to what their record will be.
I don't even know. I do think it's interesting though that they are last in the NFL in yards per game in terms of passing yards. They average 179 yards passing a game.
That's what I'm saying. Throw it short and let them run.
Woo! Give it to AP. Just give everything to AP.
Just direct snap it to AP.
Perfect. Might as well just take Teddy off the field. All right. Well, thanks, Connor, for stopping by. Your input is always appreciated, sir. So thank you for that. And enjoy your weekend. Go Vikings and go fantasy team as well for you as well.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, another edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show is in the books. Thanks again for tuning in. Remember, you can get us right here Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, live here on Spreaker.com and on Periscope. Thanks to all of you that watched this morning. You can go back and watch the show again as well. If you go to our Twitter page or go on the Periscope app and search for BG Sports Show, you can find us there. Watch the show back. Have a gay old time, as we like to say on the show. We mean happy. Anyway, we're not trying to offend anybody. Anyway, also, you can get us on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time, as well on Live 365 and TuneIn, and on demand anytime you want on iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, and on iHeartRadio as well, and iTunes, and all those other places. I'm having a brain fart. I need to go. I need more coffee, honestly. So thanks again for tuning in. We will see all of you again tomorrow. Sam will be back to keep the peace as well and talk about the recap of Thursday Night Football. He's got his Running 101 segment. We've got some Champions League action with Simon Mitchell, our NFL predictions, and also to ponder what would have happened if the 2011 NFL Draft had gone just a little different. Think about that. We'll talk about all that tomorrow, so we'll see you all again tomorrow morning. Enjoy your Thursday and have a wonderful time, and we'll see you all tomorrow. See ya!